We're pleased to be joined by former Tennessee Vol Deon Grant, former great safety with the Vols. Deon, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Hey, doing very well. It was a year ago this time that you were getting ready to play in the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl week. Thought it would be a good time to have you on. What's this week like as you get ready for the biggest game that you can play in football?
Oh, man. It's crazy because the feeling for it was two different feelings from the times that I went. The first time I was so excited and really didn't know how to capture the moment. I was just enjoying everything and every event they paid me for, I made sure I was there the second time around. I really didn't get caught up into all that. I stayed focused and really just observed it all in and just tried to stay as calm as I could to be ready and make sure my preparation was good for the game.
Is the game itself different? I mean, does it feel different when you're playing in the Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. You know, that's the only game that's been played, and the whole world is watching that one particular game.
Yeah.
You know, you have other games throughout the season and the playoff. You have other playoff game and NFC and AFC championship games. But when it comes to that Super Bowl game, you know you're the only game that's being watched. So it's definitely a different feeling.
Hey, Deon, Vince Ferrara. Good to talk to you again, Deon.
How you doing, Vince?
I'm good. Appreciate it. What's the biggest mistake that guys make when there's those 2 weeks between the championship games and the Super Bowl? As a player, what's the biggest mistake you've seen guys make?
Not taking it as serious, not really buckling down, and pardon me, not really buckling down and trying to get every key that you can get off of the opponent you're going to be facing. That's the biggest mistake that I saw. You know, they be more excited about the Super Bowl, which you should be. You have to enjoy some of it as far as the fun part of it. But you know, the main reason you're there is to bring that big ring home. And it's so hard to get to that stage again. And I have to say they don't put everything they have into that particular game.
What do you think about this matchup between the 49ers and the Ravens?
A great matchup. A great matchup. You're talking about two great defense ball clubs, and that's what both teams been built off of. You know, they have their firepower on offense with two good quarterbacks and good receiving corps, and San Fran with the good running game, and Ray Rice with the running game with Baltimore, that big offensive line. But both build their team off defense, and both of them got spectacular special team guys that can, take it the distance. So I have to say it's probably it's a great matchup.
Deon Grant is with us. Do you give either side an advantage going in?
I would have to give to San Fran, and the only reason why I say that is because you have a young quarterback that don't care, and he have a great arm, but he can make so many things happen with his legs also, and just his confidence of really taking over a ball game is unbelievable. So I have to give the slight edge to San Fran for that reason, and also their defense. Even though their defense get kind of shaky at times as far as allowing points up on them, but they've been playing so solid the whole year. So this game wouldn't be, that much of a situation that'll have them thrown off, because they done played in so many big games the whole year, and they always show up. And if they don't show up, they still put up a good fight. So I have to get a slight edge to San Fran.
You mentioned Colin Kaepernick, his ability to run. He's got a laser. He can throw the football as well, but he can take off. And we've seen Cam Newton come in, RG3, Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson. All those guys can make plays with their legs as well as throw the football. How different is that? Especially you play the safety position. How different can that be for defenses now in the NFL?
Oh, it's difficult. The good thing about me, I came in the league with them type quarterbacks, with the McNabbs and the Michael Vicks and all that. So, I saw him early. In my career, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Sometimes you just want to prepare for a quarterback that he's going to have his run game on different looks, and then when he put out a certain personnel, the type of passes you're going to get. But when you have a guy that not only can give you so many dimensions, but his reads is good. When they do that whole option read offensive scheme, when he's giving it to Frank, when he's not giving it to Frank, when he's keeping it, when he's looking at that defense and his reads be so on point, that's what makes him so much difficult to deal with.
Deon, how would you defend not only those zone reads, but we've seen a lot of these quarterbacks, the mobile quarterbacks like Kaepernick and RG3 and Russell Wilson, use the pistol offense that we've seen in college football so much. How do you defend that, or are NFL defenses going to adjust and have an answer for that eventually?
To be honest with you, the best way you deal with it is by having two good cornerbacks. And if they give a different package as far as playing the three-receiver type offense, where they tight ends is a three-receiver offense. They have two good tight ends. So you definitely have to have two good cornerbacks that can cover, that won't need a lot of safety help. And you have to have a good either cover linebacker or a good nickelback that can match up with a tight end and have another good safety that can match up with a tight end that play like a receiver. And you have to have enough guys in the box. That's the only way. If you sit back and play a cover 2 and play a cover 3 sometimes, they're going to, when you play the cover 3, it's more of a zone, so it allowed the offensive lineman and the tight ends that's pulling, allow them to get up on that extra safety or that outside linebacker, and they just leave all the reading on the defensive end, and it's a disadvantage already. So the best way that I think, you have to man up outside, switch it up, man up outside, and hopefully you have good covering guys and bring the guys in the box.
Love that X's and O's talk,
That's
Deon.
right.
Hey, when you saw that Joe Flacco deep pass against the Denver Broncos and the safety made a play on the ball and then got behind when Denver was up by a touchdown, Deon, what was your reaction to that, and what did you see?
I was surprised because I'm like, why isn't he back there waiting for the ball? He should have been back there waiting for the ball, and if anything, running towards the ball instead of falling back trying to defend the ball. That part really surprised me. But I think bigger than that, the key decision of that whole game, and I have a lot of love for Fox and that whole coaching staff because I had Jack Del Rio as a D coordinator and also a head coach, and I had Coach Fox for a head coach going to the Super Bowl in Carolina. But the decision-making as far as you having the best quarterback, and I'm going to say the best because you're an ex-Vol guy, you have the best quarterback in the NFL, and you choose to take a knee with, 29 or 31 seconds, however long they have?
Yeah, 31.
Yeah, 31 seconds. You choose, and this is what he's known for. He done had the most comeback wins in his career than any other quarterback, and you chose to take a knee instead of trying to get a field goal and end the game. That was the most upsetting decision that I saw of the whole game, and I didn't understand that one. But the safety play, that's something that you really get upset with, and I know for a fact Jack Del Rio coach a lot different in that, and he makes sure he tell the guys to keep everything in front of you, and especially that time on the clock. He definitely should have been the deepest person on that field.
We're talking to former Vol safety Deon Grant, NFL safety as well. We're going to talk to him about his Grant D. Knowledge Foundation also. But, Deon, you mentioned Peyton Manning, former Vol. How much have you kept up with the program in the last few years, especially as it's had a lot of transition here in the last 5 years?
Yeah, it seemed like we done had a curse on us. We done had some of the great athletes to come through there that, guys that really don't have a big name coming out of high school, but they just come there and really do their thing. It's just, I have to say, them getting rid of Former, I think, we ran into a little bad luck because the way they did it and when they did it. The guy just went to the SEC championship game the year before. So it's not like he wasn't winning. And I think it's just been a little payback from doing that type of situation. But I think the key thing is you got to get some people that know the history of that school. They know the history of the SEC. They know the history of Tennessee, the Knoxville, that whole tradition. You got to get somebody like that in that coaching staff, even if it's not the head coach, but you need to have somebody involved in that coaching staff that have some of that background or have knowledge to what's going on and the key reason to get guys to come to Tennessee. And I think they'll be back on the path that they should be on.
When you signed with Tennessee, I guess it'd be 16 years ago now, when you signed with Tennessee, you came in at a time where guys from Georgia like you, Jamal Lewis, Cozy Coleman, but recruiting I don't think it's ever been at a higher level at Tennessee than it was at that time. What then made some of the best players in the country want to sign with Tennessee, and then what has to, maybe part of what you just said, but what does Tennessee have to get back to allow that to happen again?
I have to say the main thing with me was the education part. I know what I wanted to major coming out of high school was engineering. I know they had a good engineering program, but when it came to the football part, Tennessee wasn't even in my radar. Excuse me. It wasn't even my radar until they bought the right guys, and this is what I'm talking about. They bought the right guys like a Coach Garner and Coach Ramsey down to recruit me, and the things that they said, and when I came on the visit, things that they showed as far as the history of Tennessee, the type of guys they put in the league, how many guys they put in the league each year, that what drew me. And they had me connected with the right people that was already in school. Like I had a cousin, Mercedes Hamilton, that was already there. They had me, and Terry Fathom. They had the right guys with me on my recruiting visit that it wasn't a shadow of a doubt that I wasn't going to sign with them. Jamal and myself, it wasn't a shadow of a doubt that we wasn't going to sign with them. I think that's what they have to get back to, the guys that's going out there doing the recruiting, but also when you bring the guys there on their recruit visit, the things that you're showing them, the people that you're connecting them with, and just show them that whole tradition of what came from Tennessee. And I think they'll get back to getting the top recruits that they should be getting from the Georgias and the Floridas and throughout the Tennessee areas and all the other cities that are states that have a lot of top athletes coming out.
Deon Grandson with us. Deon, I know you're really involved. It is your foundation, the Grant D. Knowledge Foundation. What are you doing with it? What good is the Grant D. Knowledge Foundation doing right now?
Oh, it's doing a lot. Do a lot of scholarships each year, buying a lot of computers and everything for different inner-city schools and a lot of boys and girls clubs. Do a lot of speaking engagements around, not just in the country, but around the world, even when I'm out the country. But, it's just an opportunity to give kids, a better shot of their goals. And if they don't know their goals, give them a little education and just a little bit more oomph. That's what I like to call it, a little bit more oomph to get to where they're trying to go in life. Just helping, doing more off the field than what I do on the field.
You can go to grantdknowledge.org. That's grantdknowledge.org to find out information about the Grant D. Knowledge Foundation online. What about you, your status? If I Google you, it just says free agent Deon Grant. Are you going to try to play football again, or is your NFL career over?
Oh, no. Last year I needed a break. I needed a break. I had some things I had to work through, and I really was contemplating hard on retiring. So I had people in my ear telling me not to. I had people like D go out on top. So it was so confusing because I wanted to, and then again I said, okay, I see when the season started, I said, okay, I see a lot of teams that I can help. And I got a few phone calls from a few teams, but what the role they wanted me to play, I wasn't willing to play them particular roles. So I'm going to decide, I guess, this offseason I'm going to go ahead and throw the towel in, or there's only a few teams that I really would play for at this particular point of my career. So if them teams, don't give me a phone call, I'm going to go ahead and throw the towel in.
Okay, so you're leaving that door open at least right now?
Yeah, I think I am. Last year I wasn't. That door was definitely closed for last year, but I think this year I might leave it open. Just seeing what I saw from the season past, I leave it open, but just probably the beginning of the season. If nothing don't happen at the beginning of the season, I'm going to go ahead and close it.
Deon, can we put two and two together since you work with Fox and Del Rio and former Vol as a quarterback in Denver, that might be one of your teams?
Oh, that would have been good last year. Because we probably still be in the playoff. I know I would have made that bonehead mistake, but that's kind of far. I have a 12-year-old daughter that that's in Atlanta, so I try and stay on this East Coast. But if the talk is good and it's a great situation for me, anything can happen.
Hey, last thing, Terrell Suggs, I don't know if you saw this comment from the Baltimore Ravens. He called the New England organization, starting with Belichick on down, called them arrogant, added in a few words to go with it. That's who you beat in the Super Bowl last year. How do you see the Patriots?
I see them as being whatever somebody say about him, arrogant, and Suggs is my man, so I'm not going against how he feel about him.
Okay.
They have every reason to act the way they act and move the way they act. They're a Class A organization, though. They're Class A. I don't like what they did with Deon Branch, knowing what he done did throughout his career for them guys. But they done won as more games in 2000, championship games in 2000 than any other team. So if they walk around with their head up or like they boo-boo don't stink, they got every right to because they done earned that. But I know Tom Brady personally.
Mm-hmm. I
know that's not his attitude. Class A guy, work hard, make sure that you're all right. I got hurt playing him a few years back, and he made sure he came in and checked on me while I was still on the field and all that. So I know he don't act like that. I know a few other guys like Mayo, hint, Mayo don't act like that. But, Suggs feel like that because they face them more. They face New England more, so I guess, that's how you shut them up. If you feel like they're arrogant, you shut them up by beating them. And that's what they did. That's why they're in the Super Bowl now.
Deon, you mentioned Mayo and some other former Vols. How close is that bond of former Vols in the National Football League? Because Tennessee, even though a lot of them are veteran guys, still has an awful lot of former Vols in the league.
Yeah, they do. Do they still have Dante Starworth too?
Yeah, he came in, made a great long touchdown catch for the Patriots, and then had to go on the IR. So he's technically with the Patriots.
Right. Yeah. The ones that still talk like that's still in the league. Well, Sean Ellis didn't play this year either, but like Sean and myself, and when Al was playing and Leonard was playing and Dante and Mayo, we definitely stayed in contact. But I can honestly say we should be a lot closer from the guys that we do have in the league and the type of attitudes and mentalities that we have, because we not, Tennessee just don't breed arrogant guys, and Peyton and all them other guys. We should be a lot closer there, and I think that's something that we're going to have to start doing as far as trying to put on the event that we come back to Tennessee or we get together in a particular city. But we show so much love to one another when we plan or when we know we have to face a team that another Tennessee guy probably had already faced. We get on the phone and talk to one another. But in the off season, I feel like we can be a lot closer and do a lot more things together because we have a lot of guys that came from that ball country that's in great positions in the won Super Bowls and all that other stuff in the NFL, and we can make a great impact on a lot of kids coming out of college, out of high schools, and just as far as business ventures and all that.
Hey, Deon, it's always great to have you on the show. Good luck this offseason as you decide what might happen with your career and, of course, with your work with your foundation, the Grant D. Knowledge Foundation. Good stuff, and hope to talk to you again sometime soon.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me. Anytime I'll come back on.
Okay, sounds good. That's Deon Grant, former great Tennessee safety.